Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today we'll talk about how your success is up to you and your faith in God. Many people are going through life and they're living kind of this separated, at least in their experience, a separated life between them and God. They're going to work. Now, they believe and they're operating by faith, but when it comes to their business or their job, they kind of have this separation where they don't see God in it. And that is a huge cause of failure in so many professing Christians' lives. You have to understand that God is your partner in business. If you're working for somebody else or if you have your own business, God is your partner in that business, in what you're doing in your endeavors. Look to Him, seek Him, get His wisdom and guidance, and watch as you make better decisions. Watch as you get more sales. Watch as you get more clients or customers or whatever the metric is that means success in your industry. Watch as you improve and grow greatly day after day. If you're looking at it from the perspective of God is my partner in this business endeavor. So often in religious circles, instead of looking to God as the source of good and blessing and abundance, they're blaming Him for their lives. They don't have the integrity and the honor to say, you know what, I messed up. This is my fault the way my life is. It is because of me that my life is the way it is. They blame God. They'll talk about, well, it must have been God's will. They love talking about God's will when they know nothing about it. They love blaming things on His will when they couldn't tell you what His will actually is. They just think whatever happens is His will. That's not Scripture. That's not being a Christian. That's following those old vain religions of men who think that whatever happens must have been God's will. It's been under all kinds of different names, from fatalism to Calvinism. None of it's scriptural. Whatever happens to you is not God's will. Because God's will is being done in heaven, where there's no pain, there's no crying, there's no sorrow, there's no sickness, there's no poverty, there's no lack, there's no limitations at all. And that's the will that Jesus told you to pray for on this earth. So if you're not experiencing heaven on earth, you're out of the will of God. Now, I know it can be rough because people take that as an attack or saying they don't know God or whatever. No, that's not the case. The issue is that you have to move into the will of God. Move into exhibiting that in your life each and every day. Knowing that your success comes because you know Him. And through Him, you live and move and have your being. And He gives you the wisdom and guidance to make choices other people wouldn't have made. The natural man does not have this wisdom that you have free access to, and yet so many people don't even seek the wisdom of God at all. But the Scripture says that God gives wisdom liberally to all men if you ask. You got to ask in faith, not wavering, not doubting, not in unbelief, not just hoping or wishing it might work, but in faith. So when I say that your success is based on you and your faith in God, I'm not taking God out of the mix there, because I'm putting the responsibility back where it belongs. Not blaming God for everything in your life, nor taking credit for everything in your life. But it is a fatal flaw that keeps many people from success when they're essentially blaspheming God by blaming things that happen that are bad in their lives on Him. And it's not true. God's not the source of your problems. God's not the source of your limitations. God's not the source of your illness, your mental problems, or whatever it is you want to blame on God. That root issue lies in you and your beliefs, you and your faith. Are you lacking faith? Maybe that's why you're getting the results you're getting. Now, the great thing is that Jesus said if you have the faith as a grain of a mustard seed, you could speak unto the mountain, say, be thou removed, be thou cast in the sea, and don't doubt in your heart, you'll have whatsoever you say. You don't have to have great faith. But you certainly can't have this lack of faith, this unbelief, where you're blaming God for everything going on in your life. Instead of looking to blame God for your life, look to Him for answers for your life, for how to get out of the issues that you're suffering through and you're going through needlessly by your own choice and your own actions, your own thoughts. That's why I stress Philippians 4:8 so often, because people don't grasp the fact that if you will stay in that mindset of only thinking about things that are lovely and of good report, you just start naturally flowing in the blessing of God. He starts pouring it out upon you because you're not that faithless person. Listen, it is an act of faithlessness and unbelief to be negative, because you're showing you don't have faith in God's goodness. You're showing you don't really believe that He's going to be good in your life. You're showing that you don't really believe that He's on your side. So you're doubting. You're thinking bad things are going to happen. You're worrying about this. You're worrying about that. You're prophesying doom and gloom over your own life. And that should not be the case. You can become a great success in life. And I don't care where you are. I don't care what the most humble, meek beginnings you might have. I don't care if you're a janitor or whatever is the lowest in your company, the lowest position possible there. You can rise to levels of great success with faith in God, knowing He's on your side, seeking His wisdom daily, resting in the wisdom He gives you and acting on it. It's one thing to get wisdom from God. Many people do that and they ignore it. I've had people tell me numerous times, well, I thought I should do this, but I didn't do it. And when they finally acted on that wisdom that God had given them, they got great success. But they've been putting it off sometimes for years. Like it didn't seem like it really mattered. It didn't seem like it was going to be enough. It didn't seem like there's something they really need to do right now. And they kept putting it off and delaying and not acting on the wisdom of God. And they were getting bad results. Listen, if you get wisdom from God and you don't act on it, that is an act of unbelief. It is an act. It's just not an act on the thing God gave you. It's an act against the thing God gave you. Against His wisdom, against His guidance, against His leading. And listen, many people think that, the Spirit of God leads us and guides us in all truth. But they think that only means spiritual, mystical truths or something, or the Bible passages will be given to them. It applies to everything. Every single aspect of your daily life, from the food you eat, to the breath you breathe, to the exercises you perform, to your job, to whatever it is you do. The Spirit will lead you into all truth. He'll guide you. He'll give you wisdom. But you have to be the one to act on it. He doesn't force you. He doesn't force you to act. So you can keep acting incorrectly against your will and against God's will, harming yourself, or you can choose to start acting in mighty faith in God, believing His truths, believing His goodness, and acting on the wisdom He gives you each and every day. And watch, my friend, watch as you become a great success. I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.